The entrance wasn't buried or hidden. It appeared one morning behind the rubble of a munitions depot destroyed during the Iran-Israel conflict. But no matter who I asked or what intel I pulled, no one could explain why it wasn't listed in any report, blueprint, or satellite image. I was working as a combat engineer, assigned to an Israeli outpost along the contested northern border during a tense period of the war. My role was to clear debris from bombed-out facilities and ensure no hidden threats remained: tunnels, mines, booby traps. The morning we found it, the sun was already harsh, baking the twisted remains of what used to be an Iranian ammunition storage site. The air still carried a metallic burn from the recent missile strike, and the ground reeked of scorched concrete and fuel. One of our younger techs flagged me down. His voice was shaky. He'd been clearing a collapsed wall when something gave way, revealing a tunnel entrance. It was reinforced with clean concrete and steel, completely intact and strangely untouched by the explosion that flattened everything around it. But the weirdest part? The tunnel wasn't on any of the maps we had, not from Israeli intelligence, not from drone scans, not even the old Soviet-era blueprints we'd been referencing. I reported it immediately. Our commanding officer raised an eyebrow, asked if it might be a sewer line or a decoy. Still, protocol was protocol. He ordered a sweep, standard recon, no more than 15 minutes. 4 men. I led. The moment we stepped inside, the temperature dropped at least 10 degrees, not gradually, immediately. Our radios buzzed with faint static. The air was thick and oddly sterile, like a hospital corridor sealed too long. The tunnel stretched ahead, curving slightly left. Every 15 feet or so, dull yellow lights flickered on as we moved, though none of us could find where the power was coming from. No wires, no generator hum, just that soft, buzzing glow. About 10 minutes in, we found something that stopped us cold. A small pile of folded uniforms, IDF gear, neatly stacked along the wall. On top of the pile was a helmet with our unit's insignia and a name tag. Mine. I froze. It wasn't just similar, it was identical to the gear I had back in my tent. Same scuff marks, same faded Velcro on the shoulder. I called it in, but the radio spat back only static. We switched frequencies. Nothing. Not even base comms. We debated heading back, but curiosity and duty pushed us deeper. That's when we heard it. A faint scraping sound, echoing from deeper in the tunnel. Slow, rhythmic, like metal dragged across concrete. We raised our rifles, flashlights cutting into the stale darkness. The tunnel opened into a circular chamber, perfectly round, about 10 meters wide. At the center was a steel table and an old military radio unit that looked Soviet-era, though it was powered on, buzzing faintly. On the table lay a set of documents, faded, torn. I picked one up. It was my handwriting. A field report, dated 2 days in the future. Tunnel extends further than mapped, cold increasing. We are not alone. I flipped to the next page. Cats disappeared last night. No sign of struggle. Lights flickered. Something whispered in Farsi, but no one was speaking. More pages. All mine. Desperate. Scribbled in haste. Do not follow the lights. I turned to the others. 2 were gone. No footsteps. No sound. Just gone. Like the tunnel had swallowed them whole. Yarden and I ran back the way we came, hearts pounding. The lights began to flicker violently, and that scraping noise, it was behind us now, louder, closer. The radio crackled on. A voice, raspy, warbled, spoke in my own voice. You were warned. We reached the entrance and burst into daylight. I collapsed in the dirt. Yarden wasn't behind me, only I made it out. The site was locked down, the tunnel sealed with concrete and steel plating, the area reclassified. When I asked command what they found, they told me, officially, there was never a tunnel, that the depot had been completely destroyed. No survivors, no underground structures. They reassigned me within the week. But sometimes, in moments too quiet, I still hear it. That slow scrape of metal on stone, that whisper in my own voice. And sometimes, when I flip through my old field journal, I find new pages I don't remember writing. Pages dated for next week. It started with a voice that shouldn't have known my name. At 2:37 a.m., in total silence, the radio crackled, and something whispered, Ari, don't go near the gate. I was stationed near the northern Negev desert, part of a remote Israeli listening post monitoring movements along the Iranian front. This was during one of the quieter lulls in the Iran-Israel conflict, after the initial strikes but before the escalations that followed. Technically, we were behind the front lines, but in this war, safe zone didn't mean much. Our assignment was intelligence surveillance, intercepting field transmissions, maintaining radio contact, logging unusual frequencies. Days were dry, nights were long, and paranoia became part of the routine. The outpost was basic. 4 soldiers, a reinforced concrete shack, 2 aging watchtowers, and a rusting perimeter fence that buzzed faintly every time the wind shifted. We weren't near any civilians, just sand, wreckage, and the occasional distant rumble of shelling. By the 3rd night, I had the wind memorized. It hissed across the desert like breath through broken teeth, unsettling but normal. What wasn't normal happened at exactly 2:37 a.m. BZZT. The radio burst to life with a static pop. Not strange by itself, storms and air clutter sometimes interfered with military frequencies, but this wasn't noise. It was a voice, male, dry, raspy, and it said, "Ari, don't go near the gate." I froze. It wasn't my call sign. It wasn't encrypted code. It was my first name, something only people in the unit knew. I leaned toward the mic, pulse rising. "This is Post 12. Identify yourself." "Over." Nothing. Just a low hum, almost a vibration beneath the static. I checked the frequency. Still locked. This was a closed military band, scrambled, internal, line of sight. No way someone on the Iranian side could have hacked in. No way anyone outside our team could be transmitting on it. Still, I climbed the ladder to the watchtower. Doran was on shift, slouched with his boots on the rail, helmet tipped back. "You hear anything on comms?" I asked. He opened one eye. "Nope, just sand and ghosts." "Why?" I didn't answer, just stared out across the floodlit fence line. The gate was maybe 200 meters off, lit by a dying halogen lamp that made everything look like it was underwater. I didn't go near the gate. The next night, the voice came back. Earlier this time, just past 1 a.m. I was reviewing intercepted chatter when the radio buzzed again. "BZ da hurt." Then, clear and calm, "You left the door unlocked, Ari." I dropped my mug. Coffee soaked the comms logbook. I turned. The door was unlocked. I knew I had locked it. I always locked it. It was protocol, especially with the tension on the border. I keyed the mic again. "Who is this? Identify, now." Only that soft, uneven static returned, like someone breathing through a blown-out speaker. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. By the 4th night, I was unraveling, triple-checking every lock, recalibrating the comms, even rewiring the radio, thinking maybe I'd built up some kind of feedback loop. Nobody believed me. Doran said maybe someone from Tehran figured out a prank frequency. Another guy joked that maybe the sand spirits were bored. Still, I set up a recorder to capture the signal. At 3:12 a.m., it came again, but distorted this time, like it was struggling to hold its shape. "Ari, we see you. We." I played the recording for the others in the morning. There was nothing on the tape, just blank air. I stared at the reel in disbelief. It was like the voice had never existed, like it had whispered only to me. The final night is burned into me. I was on solo duty in the radio room. Doran was up in the tower. The others were asleep. The hours dragged by. The radio stayed quiet. Until suddenly, the alarm tripped. The red strobe lit the walls like blood. The shrill siren nearly split my ears. Motion alert, gate perimeter. I grabbed my rifle, heart pounding, and rushed to the monitor. Static. Then, briefly, a flicker, a shape. Someone standing at the gate, still, unmoving, watching. I radioed up. "Doran, confirm visual on gate perimeter. Do you see anyone?" Silence. Then, "Don't look at it." The voice wasn't on the radio. It came from inside the room, behind me. I turned, rifle raised. Nothing. Only the radio humming. A tone, high-pitched, almost electrical. Back on the screen, the figure was inside the fence now. Closer, still not moving. Then all the camera feeds cut out. I backed away from the console, breath caught in my throat. That's when Doran burst in, rifle at the ready. "What the hell's going on?" I opened my mouth to speak, but the radio buzzed again and whispered one final line. "Don't trust him." That was my last night at the post. I was reassigned within 48 hours, no reason given. no questions allowed. The rest of the unit stayed. I never saw Doran again. I filed requests, pulled logs, even tried tracing the comms myself. But everything from that week was scrubbed. No audio, no alarms, no radar data, not even a mention of the incident. But sometimes, in the middle of the night, while scanning radio bands for exercises, I still hear it, that same rasp saying my name.